to drive traffic to those businesses, but in addition, that allows you to actually apply for a grant of up to $90,000 that we will award in the fall. So there's certainly, as the mayor said, it's not the silver bullet, but we're doing things to really help mom and pops succeed.
One last point on this, and you as an organization leader and everyone that's running on this, I am very pained. I'm thinking about my neighborhood, Brooklyn. When a store has been there a long time, I mean, I see this, I imagine people see this all the time in this community too. The store that was there a long time is priced out, and then the storefront ends up empty, like you talked about the movie theater, and nothing happens, and then eventually a Starbucks, bank branch, whatever. This is not good for New York City. But again, there's not an easy public policy solution. There is a people solution that matters, which is to scrupulously patronize the mom and pops and give them your business. Actually, I find a lot of people, I was at a restaurant called Angelica in the East Village. It's this famous vegetarian restaurant. And it had been there for 40 years. It was one of the first vegetarian restaurants in New York City. And they announced they were closing. And the place was jam-packed, and my wife and I went because we had gone there long ago. And the manager said, you know, right now we're jam-packed, but for years no one was coming. And that's why we're shutting down. I think people, if they really believe in their local small businesses, have some power in this equation, which is go patronize them as exclusively as possible, and that's one of the things that keeps them afloat.
Thank you very much, Brett. I think we gotta hear from some other residents. First of all, everyone knows that we have the Queensbridge houses in our district, the largest public housing development in the United States of America. Very proud to represent. I want to make sure we hear from our public housing leaders. So first, April Simpson-Taylor. Microphone.
Big mouth. I don't know if I need that.
Take the microphone. Take the microphone.
Honorable Mayor de Blasio, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you for coming. As I've spoken so many times with my council member, Jimmy Van Bramer, as well as Bishop Taylor, there's a little park behind Queensbridge houses called Baby Park. And all of us have done petitions, the seniors. I went to school there back in 15. There was a park back there. There was a handball court. We are always talking about going green and making green spaces for our community instead of being the concrete jungle. But when we went back there are all different kind of city agencies back there. Not just NYCHA, DOT, parks. It's all kinds of city agency trucks, cars, vehicles. We don't know what to do. How can we get that park renovated back for the little goobers to go have a good place, safe place? We could even build a dog park back there, so we don't have, you know what, on the sidewalks. So we need this in Queensbridge. And Queensbridge, we love Mayor de Blasio.
Thank you. You have a very dramatic presentation. I'm impressed. Very, very fabulous. Look, I just want to say thank you for your leadership. We've gotten a lot done together, all of us in Queensbridge. I want to credit the Queensbridge community for extraordinary work in terms of achieving a safer community. And we thank the NYPD, obviously. We thank the NYPD, but we also know the people of Queensbridge houses helped to achieve that historic, extraordinary, consistent improvement in safety, and all the folks involved in the crisis management system, the Cure Violence movement. So many folks who made that happen. You know that we focused on investments in terms of roofs, in terms of internet access. So it's the largest public housing development in the United States, and we've tried to treat Queensbridge with the respect that is due. We obviously are always going to look for opportunities to do more. Now, in terms of this property, parks, where's Dorothy? She goes by Dorothy. Dottie. Okay, but you said it's Parks property, so Dottie what?
It's actually a combination of, it's parkland used by a number of agencies, and as you're aware. Actually, the council member and I spoke about the site not long ago. About
But who owns it, Dottie? I just want to clarify.
A good portion of it is parks, and some of it is actually DOT.
Okay,
So we
and how
share-
roughly big are we talking about?
Runs from 21st Street down to Vernon Boulevard, and it's the stretch under the Edgecotch Bridge, Queensboro Bridge.
Okay, so what's the plan going forward?
So as you had said, there's a number of locations currently that use operational facilities back there. Parks has some facilities, we have our land reclamation, sanitation has some facilities.
Wait.
We do
Where do you want to go
recycling and
with
such.
it? I believe
So where are we
they're all
going with
good
this?
things.
I think there's opportunity in some of those spaces to do improvement. I'd love to look at it with you. The Handball Court area, we recently worked with NYSHA to relocate some of the cars that they were parking in that area, closer to 21st. We'd like to do something in that area as well. I don't have the funding yet, and I don't know if there'll be an announcement. Not tonight, another day.
We don't have one tonight, but we're always looking for new ones.
But we're looking at opportunities, and I agree with you. We can do more along those edges, and there's opportunity we should.
So what I'm hearing, just so I get it right, is you're not crazy. The uses right now are not bad things, but not necessarily their intended purpose. And the mission is to get these other things to start moving out and get it back to the intended purpose, which is a good thing. But it will take money to bring it up to the kind of quality it deserves.
Yes,
which
a
we
little
don't
bit
have
of money,
right
a little
now.
bit of time, and then the coordination between keeping some of those agency functions there, but also providing for the greater public space. There's,
Are you checking your watch to see if it's been 10 years? do you have a year watch? I'm impressed. All right, so you have fully, very effectively registered the concern. DOT and Parks will look at how they can start making the change. We're going to have a budget discussion that I think can't be for this one, it'll have to be for the next one.
That's right.
But let's start the wheels in motion. Thank you.
And ultimately reclaim that space for the folks at Queensbridge. So, not as large a public housing development, but equally loved and equally as important, the Woodside houses. Miss Annie Cotton Morris.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Ann Cotton Morris. I'm the president of the Woodside Houses. I'm also the district chair of Queens, which covers Long Island City all the way to the Rockaways. So that's like 20 housing developments. We often see reports on TV about negative things happening at night, like the mole and the rats, like nobody else have it but us. But this is what you see on TV. And I want to know, how are you going to help us, our residents, and our housing staff, Shola, our chair, and I'm sorry, I don't know everyone's name there, but you know who you are. But anyway, how are you going to help us make these NYCHA a place that's safe and clean that we can be proud of? One thing you did do is with the NCOs. Officers, thank you so much. We're really happy with the ones we have. I guess Carmen and Healy, he's in Woodside, we love them. Thank you for that.
All right, thank you. Well, first, Shola, come on over and join me in the answer. Look, I think your first point is a very excellent one. There is an unfair portrayal of the 400,000 New Yorkers who live in public housing, who are some of the backbone of the city. And look, a lot of our developments have been there a long time, but people work really hard who work for NYCHA and residents alike to make the best of them and to make them as good as they can be. Now, you said one thing we did do was the NCOs. We're very proud of the NCOs, and I've heard this all over public housing, but I'm going to tell you we did more than one thing. Because one of the hardest working folks in government right here, she was handed an extraordinarily difficult mission of taking an agency that had not been invested in. Let's be real. The first report Shola did for me on the future of the housing authority, she identified $18 billion in repairs and investments that she needed. $18 billion. But despite that, Shola and her team keep things moving forward. Now, another thing we did do is we stopped charging the Housing Authority for police services, which they used to be charged for. And we stopped charging them tax. If you can believe, the city of New York used to tax the Housing Authority for decades. We stopped doing that. And we gave the money to Shola and said, put that into repairs, put that into trying to improve quality of life and focusing on so many of the things, the health and safety issues. And a lot of that's happened, she'll describe it. But going forward, look, we just added in this budget $1.33 billion. It's the biggest city investment in the physical infrastructure of NYCHA in a single year that's ever been made. $1.33 billion to fix the roofs of over 700 buildings and to address the facades where there's real dangers and fix them up for people. Money is flowing. It's not enough, it's not fast enough, but it sure is flowing. Now I want, because it obviously affects all the developments represented here, Shola should take a moment so everyone can hear what your vision is for the next steps in improving the quality of life, while of course dealing with the challenge from the federal government simultaneously.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Ms. Ann Cotton Morris, who's also chair of the Citywide Council of Presidents of all of our NYCHA leaders, and the many other leaders that are here, Ms. April, Bishop Taylor, who I work very closely with around helping to ensure our communities are safe, clean, and connected. So there are a lot of things that we have done, but it has been done in lockstep with the mayor and with your councilmen. So at Queensbridge, you know, we invested $140 million of investment, roofs, new playgrounds, lights, new doors. The fact that there hasn't been a shooting in 1 year, over a year, was not by accident. It was a lot of concentrated work and focus in terms of how do we ensure that NYCHA's here for another generation. We are loud and proud in Washington, and we are not going to accept the proposed budget cuts that this president has put forward for HUD, which would slash our entire agency and fundamentally threaten the homes of 1 in 14 New Yorkers. And so we have done a lot with the mayor and the councilman's support. We've taken repair times down from 15 days when we started down to 5 days today. We have $1.2 billion of work on the street. I know we have some sheds at Woodside, which will also be a part of, he doesn't even know this, the money that he put in the executive budget will help us deal with some of the facade issues at Woodside. So we're doing a lot of work that's really focused on how do we ensure these buildings are here for another generation, but we also need to change. We need to join the 21st century, so there's a lot that we've done around connecting residents to technology and jobs and opportunity, and that's something that these two leaders and our mayor are supporting us to do. So thank you for your continued work and support, and I look forward to working with you.